Hey everybody, thanks for joining here today. And I'm passionate about digital and aviation, and so it's amazing for me to have an opportunity to be able to have this conversation. I'll just start out by saying, I'm going to talk about digital and aviation, specifically revolving around Web3, and I'm going to get into some details of it. But the main thing I'm getting toward, and I got to give you a little bit of context at the beginning, but the main thing I'm driving toward is use cases, which is toward the middle of this. And the reason I'm doing that is to give you a preview is because when I started doing this, I didn't understand all the possibilities and all the use cases. And so that's really, where I'm going. So I'm going to start out by just giving you a little bit about myself. About 5 years ago, I was at an aircraft IT conference, and somebody brought up the word digital twin. And I don't know why I didn't know what it was, but I didn't know what it was. And now you're sitting there thinking, this guy didn't know what a digital twin was? Well, I didn't. Maybe I didn't understand the full application of it. And then about 4 years ago, I did my very first webinar on blockchain. And what I did was I went out and found some people that had a use case where they were implementing blockchain. And I said, let's talk about it. Let's do a webinar and let's just have a conversation about it. And then about 3 years ago, I got interested in cryptocurrency, and my son, he got me involved in cryptocurrency. And right about now, I'm starting to lose some of you because you're saying cryptocurrency, market's down. I don't even know if I want to listen to this anymore, but I want you to listen because cryptocurrency is not blockchain, okay? Cryptocurrency is a subset of blockchain, all right? And then about 2 years ago, I called a friend and I said, what's an NFT? And I didn't even know what an NFT was, what a non-fungible token was, all right? And I'm just going to do a few things to help people really understand the landscape of what this is really about. And then, ever since I've just seen increasing interest in this kind of technology. And so I'm just going to mention to you something about myself. First of all, is that, I've been in the industry for 40 years, and, I know I don't look that old. It's the gray hair, but I have been really, okay? And I've implemented really hundreds of systems. I've collaborated really literally with thousands of companies, and I've traveled millions of miles. And the reason I say that is because I've been all around the world, and I've visited MROs and OEMs and airlines all around the world for many, many years. And so maybe it's just that I've seen so much, and maybe that's what causes me to have such a drive and passion, for optimization of efficiency really within travel. So for me, I just want to tell you who I am. Where did this start? All right, my dad would take me as a young boy to the airport, and I remember it at Crystal Airport in Minneapolis. Do you know where Crystal Airport in Minneapolis is? Maybe you just have sat in an airport before, okay? So my dad would take me, and we would watch the airplanes take off. And I had this growing just interest in aviation that was really just part of me. And then when I was 13 years old, my dad took me to the Oshkosh fly-in in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, the EAA fly-in, now called AirVenture. And he put me in the right seat of a Ford Trimotor, and it was all over at that point. I went home, started learning how to fly. I was flying airplanes before I could drive a car. And I went on to get a commercial instrument multi-engine license. I'm an A&P. I have an engineering degree. I've started a lot of companies, and so that's really my background, really within aviation is what it really is. But here's one thing: is that there was a struggle. I really saw a struggle. I went to work at McDonnell Douglas Aircraft Company, working on the F-18. It's where I met my wife. Actually, that's why I had to go there. And they weren't doing any digital at that time in manufacturing. Basically, we were doing planning and scheduling on paper. We were drawing out schedules on paper and implementing block upgrades on the F-18. And the first project I ever worked on was the Blue Angels. And it was a struggle. And I went on to struggle with having the computer technology I needed. When I went on to work at Northwest Airlines, now Delta, I brought my own computer because they didn't have computers at that time. I couldn't go from having a computer to not having one. I literally brought my own computer to work. And then I struggled with old IT systems as I managed training and technical publications, and I managed engineering, and I managed some of the shops at those times. And really, that's really where the struggle was. And you might say to yourself, we still struggle with that today. Well, yeah, it's a different struggle, all right? But here's the thing, is that I recognized a pattern in all of this, okay? A pattern is that I recognize that we need to focus on the business challenges that exist. What is the real business challenge that we were dealing with? What was the struggle really revolving around? What's the current business process that exists? What is the technology that's available around us? Most of you are here today because you're interested in aviation and digital, and you're wanting to understand maybe some of the vendors that are here. You want to understand some of the current trends, where are things going. We need to understand the landscape around us. And the technology and process solution was a common pattern. If you implemented technology before process, many times you were putting in things which weren't needed and you had to replace them. If you're implementing process and no technology, you're not getting optimization. And so we had to put those things together. So really, if we don't understand the world of technology opportunity around us, how can we really envision and implement a solution? You say, well, how does this now relate into blockchain? Well, I'm going to talk about Web3, and I'm going to talk about blockchain and how that's some of the new landscape really that's around us. So I decided to help people understand the blockchain landscape. I want you to understand today that I'm not like, you need to implement blockchain. This is where your world, you need to be here. No, I decided that I wanted to help people better understand it because it was an emerging technology which I wanted to understand, and I saw many people around me that wanted to understand, and so I tried to bring it to the forefront. And so really, what was the problem? People tell me, I have these conversations with people, we don't need a blockchain, we have a database. Well, maybe you don't need one. What's the business case for it, okay? We don't need a blockchain, we have messaging and APIs. I don't need to have something that's better than that. Okay, well, maybe you don't, all right? But there's a technology out there that maybe you need to be looking at. We don't need blockchain, we have data lakes and warehouses. Okay, well, maybe in your application you do or you don't. What I am striving to try to do is help people understand what that technology opportunity is around blockchain. So now what, all right? I went to a business associate at a large technology company, and I asked if I could have someone in their organization. This is a technology company which is in every one of your computers. And I asked him, I said, you know, would you be willing to come and talk in a series I was going to do about blockchain? And he literally said, what does blockchain have to do with aviation, all right? And I don't hold that against that person. There's just lack of awareness at that point. And then I spoke with a couple of different CEOs, and I said, hey, I'd like to have you participate in this series I'm going to do where I'm going to talk about blockchain and aviation this summer. And they said, what's the application of blockchain in aviation? And then last Friday, you know, I had a conversation with an IT person, and we were in the middle of this meeting, and we were talking about this, and the word blockchain came up, and he's the CEO of a high-tech company doing AI and ML, and he said, what? There's no blockchain in aviation. And so, listen, I don't hold that against anybody. What I just say is that there needs to be an increased understanding of the technology that's around us so we can best leverage it and create the greatest efficiency from the things that are around us. That's really the message that I have here today.